En midnattskväll då solen går ner, vi hör en röst så klar. Den kommer lite
Hello,
närmare och låter så
beautiful
underbar.
American
Det sjunger en
girls.
hälsning om
Hello.
ljus och frid, de flickor
We have
leker
come
till dans.
to the end of our journey with the traditional books of Kirsten Larson.
That's right.
Welcome to American Girl Talk,
Her journey ends
a podcast where we let raccoons destroy buildings.
because we just care about animals that much.
We just love tiny, small animals. We love bringing them into our homes. We love watching them spill oil everywhere.
The soft, wounded animals of our hearts.
And you know what? If our whole family's house burns down and everything we own in it, so be it.
And if we never get directly blamed for it somehow and we get off scot-free, then it might convince us we too could do arson.
And you know what? I'm your host, Caroline.
And I'm your host, Celia.
What's happening?
There's somebody out there peeking their head in.
Oh, they're doing a studio class. We're keeping this in.
Sorry.
We're in a studio.
I was worried that he was going to knock on the door.
No, we have it for another 40 minutes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So a little peek behind the curtain. We're doing this in the studio, as you can tell from the
Just
video.
beautiful, fancy women like
but
that.
it's not in our house. We're renting it.
Yeah, it's not ours.
We don't have this. We're very poor.
But maybe someday.
But yeah, maybe someday if you continue to listen to American Girl Talk, when we go to the next series, which will be Samantha, because we're not doing it chronologically, we decided to do it book orderly. It'll be fun.
Because we're women who can do what we want.
Yeah. And
Just
you know
like
what?
Kirsten.
Yeah, just like Kirsten. We can burn every bridge in our lives.
Literally.
So, without further ado, how are you, Celia?
Generally?
Yeah.
Spiritually?
Yeah.
I think I'm good. I think I'm sad.
Because Kirsten's almost gone.
Yeah, she's going to fade on.
We're going to have to meet a new girl.
I'm going to have to decide to open my heart up to a new young woman.
I wonder how you're going to like Samantha. She's kind of a brat.
I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Are you excited?
I am. I like Samantha. I've read her books before.
Okay.
But
Maybe you'll have a fresh new perspective on them now as
an adult woman.
As an adult woman.
Maybe. But yeah. But I've enjoyed Kirsten. It was a little
I've come
slow.
around on her.
Yeah, I feel like we were a little slow to start with her, but I feel like by the end of it, she's really proven herself to be a real American girl.
She won us over, much like we won those people over in Galveston doing a karaoke song. You won us over. That's how I feel
We
now.
were Kirsten in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
They doubted us, but we really delivered.
But we delivered in the end.
Yeah.
And that's what matters most.
Yeah, and she was a sweet little girl. We had fun adventures with her. Her personality developed throughout the books a little bit. And we kind of got to just really feel for this pioneer kid.
I think we know who she is now.
Would you rather hang out with Kirsten or Laura Ingalls Wilder?
Laura Ingalls Wilder had just a lot more lore to her. So it feels like,
She's writing her own books, though.
yeah. Kirsten can't write.
It's so true, because she can barely speak English because she doesn't go to school.
I guess I feel like I know I could talk to Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this isn't the right answer for American Girl
It's
Talk,
okay. It's a safe
but-
space.
Thank you. But I think Laura Ingalls Wilder. I've been in her house. Also,
Where
she was
is her
real.
house?
Well, there's one in Minnesota.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know where exactly it took place on the prairie. I didn't like those books.
They moved around, which happens, I think, in the books. I didn't read all of them. I think I ever read the first couple. But they moved. But there is a real Laura Ingalls Wilder cabin that you can visit.
We would play Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, 100%.
And we would play the different characters, even though most of us didn't read them. And one of my friends always wanted to be Laura, and then I was always Caroline because my name's Caroline.
Well, that's easy.
And then my other friend was Mary, who's the sister who goes blind. And
Does she?
yeah, she does.
See, I'm not even that up on the lore.
She
there.
gets yellow fever or something and goes blind.
That sounds about right.
But this was really
a lot of shit happened to that family.
This was really an underratedly funny childhood moment because my friend who would play Mary would decide halfway through the game that it was now that she became blind. So she'd be setting our table for dinner and
See, that's creative.
Yeah, decide in that moment to be blind and just completely destroy the table.
Yeah, that's inventive.
And really annoy her older sister who's like, you're not supposed to do it like that.
Well, of course.
But I always kind
I
of thought
hope
it was
she does
funny.
improv now.
I don't think she does.
Well, she should. That's genius.
But
That's
it
a good
was
yes and.
I think about it a lot, and I do think that's kind of a good bit.
That's a good bit if you're getting forced to be the sister that gets so sick that she does lose her eyesight.
Yeah.
So you might as well be like, well, I'm being historically accurate.
And we'd
So-
always play it, and we'd always say, or the older sister would always say, don't do that thing where you go blind in the middle of the game. And she'd always say, I won't do it. And then she'd always do it.
Well, of course. You can't tell a child not to do something in a game and you're all playing. Like, it's like when you play house and you would inevitably get placed with a role that you didn't want to play. Like the dog. And then you'd be like, well, I can talk and I'm the dog and I walk on my hind legs.
I would always play the dad.
It checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would drink chocolate milk and pretend it was coffee.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
That's inventive.
and I was like, oh, work. You know what
I
I'm
hate
saying?
paying my taxes and my silly wife.
all,
Ha 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 ha.
all in
ha.
a day's work for her dad.
The old naggy wife.
And I would, it was good.
Yeah, that is good.
But Kirsten has no time to play,
That's right.
even in this book.
They've got to go hunting.
Yeah, she goes hunting in the first chapter with her brother, Larson, and Jon Stewart, late night host extraordinaire.
That's right.
So she's out there with the boys, and Jon hates that Kirsten is out there.
Okay, but do we think that he has a crush on her?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Jon and Kirsten kind of have a little cutesy crushies on
They
each other.
definitely have a vibe going on.
Yeah.
Because she does describe at the beginning.
Ouch.
I just smacked my wrist into the thing if you're not watching.
So excited.
I'm so excited about this book. I was also excited because I was like, famously, since her small friend ran off into the shadows, how was Kirsten ever going to have love in her life again? Or a friend in her life again?
Mm-hmm. Maybe Jon.
New things on the horizon.
But yet, Jon is being a typical little boy with a crush and being really mean to Kirsten.
Yeah, because she wants to join them on their trapping mission. They're looking for the critters that they know in the woods, but it turns out Kirsten kind of scrappy.
Yeah.
This woman knows how to look for a beaver in the wood. She's going to know where they are.
I feel like this also is one of those things that Kirsten has maybe slightly more confidence in than she should. Like, I feel like a little bit of it is, oh, well, I had a Native American friend, so I understand the ways of the land.
Oh, unfortunately, that is such a completely correct read on her because she is giving like, well, my native friend. You can't say that.
Yeah.
We can't say that. She doesn't know that yet, of course, that we shouldn't say such things, but she's for sure pulling that card.
Yeah, and Lars kind of advocates for Kirsten like a good big
Which
brother.
is cute. I did like that.
And he's like, nah, she knows where those beavers are.
Also famously just found the bees, but as we've discussed, it has
Mhm.
sort of the sitcom-esque format of not acknowledging anything or skills that
Yeah,
she
you'd
did.
think- You'd think he would bring that up as like a justification for bringing
Or,
Kirsten
like, remember when
along.
Kirsten found the bees
And the bears.
and the bears?
She can
But
find
she did technically find
Yeah.
both such things.
So they kind of, Jon begrudgingly lets Kirsten come along. And Kirsten is kind of like, well, why won't Jon be my friend?
Oh yeah, big time. She's like, okay, I guess boys and girls can't be homies. She doesn't
Yeah.
say it like that, but it's how it's reading.
And the boys are really in charge of this trip, literally because the dads are at logging camp.
Yeah, I will say that was a fun fact for me. I did not know that those were a thing. I guess it makes sense, right?
Yeah, I guess it would be like a smart way because you can't farm in the winter.
Right. So then you leave your family behind, your kids who are her older
Lars is,
brother's
like,
getting
15,
yeah, he's
yeah.
like getting up there and he's already been doing like boy chores. And then the aunt and the uncle are nearby, or well, the uncle's off as well. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. But like you said, it makes sense because if you could just go do manual labor somewhere else where you're needed, getting the trees for the
Well, where
homesteads and
is the
everything.
logging camp?
Honestly, I would guess, based off my Minnesota knowledge, and I could be wrong, I would guess northern Minnesota. The northern parts of Minnesota are pretty full of forest. So I would guess there, unless they were going up to like closer to the Canadian border.
Well, that's what I wonder because towards the end of the book, they say that they have to get off a boat. So I was wondering if there's anything near those Great Lakes that I hear so much
Well, there
about.
are, yeah, there are. Like I said, I would guess they must be pretty far north because,
Yeah.
or maybe they are going to Canada.
Is it
Kirsten
even
wouldn't
Canada at
know.
this point? It is.
I think so.
Or is it just, I don't,
It might just be unincorporated territory.
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
If it's just, because that's,
It's hard to tell.
because Minnesota is
But
like,
there was a fur trade, I believe, involving Canada. At the
yeah, there
time.
was. And the French.
Mm-hmm. And La France.
And the French.
So it might have been a French providence or some such
And Francais.
thing at the time.
But they're at, so the men's are at camp and the boys are looking for pelts.
And the men are going to be gone for a while.
Yeah.
They're going to be gone basically the whole winter up until the snow melts when they'll send the logs back down the river and then return home.
Yeah. And so the boys are kind of stuck, like, again, I think
Being the men.
The 13 and
providers.
15-year-old men.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So they're just kind of working the land. There's a lot of animal skinning in this chapter.
Yeah, okay. I think this book is the most adult feeling.
This one is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get to some other things that happen in it, but even in this first chapter, it felt like, oh, this feels very mature all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because in the last book, it was like lighthearted. She's going after the bees. She learns a lesson, whatever. And now she's like, I also have to provide for my family, so you boys better let me help you.
Yes.
With the skinning and the hunting and the trapping.
In my cute little outfit.
She's wearing an adorable outfit. She's got like a red scarf on. She's got a black and white.
A like Fair Isle sweater.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah.
It's very chic. So Caroline and I both agreed an outfit we
We'd
would
buy
both
that doll.
wear. Yeah. I would buy that doll and I would buy an outfit to match.
A matching. Oh, you look cute in a matching Kirsten outfit
Thank
for
you.
that.
I was
Yeah.
like, I think so. Something to invest in, perhaps.
But yeah, she's wearing her cute little outfit. She's skinning with the boys, and they find an old like rope trap, and they're like, "Oh, that's a really old trap. We use metal ones." And John Stewart says, "Oh, that's old Jack's trap." And everyone's like, "Who's old Jack?" And he's apparently some hermit who lives in the woods, who's like the best trapper in these parts, and he's been out there since people could be out there.
Yeah.
And he wears all leather.
It's kind of like an urban legend.
He's a leather daddy.
He's a leather daddy. He might have been the first ever leather daddy.
Yeah, but
of the
allegedly
lands.
he's like nice enough to teach people. John says he taught him how to set traps or something.
He's not like scary.
No, but Kirsten is scared
but
of him.
she is scared of him. Yes, let's be clear. She's scared of him, but none of it's being said by John.
No.
Is like,
yeah, Kirsten throughout this book develops a fear of old Jack, which comes to be legitimate and will haunt her for the rest of her life.
yes, absolutely.
But nothing John says would lead you to be afraid of old Jack.
No, I don't think so.
So this is just a weird quirk of Kirsten.
You're actually just learning fun, interesting facts about this hermit in the woods. And she's like, a hermit in the woods?
Wearing leather?
I suspect not.
Oh, God, no, not for me.
No.
So they hunt, they do that, they go back to the... Oh, wait, they find the raccoon.
Yes, so there's a raccoon in a trap.
A little baby one, his like leg was caught or something, but he's not dead enough that they can justify.
No, and he like opens his eyes and his like little paws are kind of twitching. And Kirsten is like, "Oh, let me take it home. Let me take it home. This is just like the kitten." And that's her downfall because she immediately
Thinks it's
equates
kitten?
this little thing to kitten.
Yeah.
And she's already been nursing that kitten to health. Actually, it doesn't say that.
We never find out about Kitten
We
again.
don't know what's going on with the kitten.
You know what we don't hear about too in this book? Miss Winston.
Or
Girl
sorry.
Fort, or sorry.
So still no updates, you guys. So don't worry about it. And
And
the
yeah,
bees
Kitten, we haven't heard about in 2 books. That kitten did die, I'm going to guess.
probably didn't survive the
No.
winter. If we've learned anything from the peak in the past, it's that the pioneers were not keeping little critters alive.
No, but Kirsten is locked in on raccoon. That's her latest
Yeah,
hyperfixation.
And Lars and John are kind of like,
Can you not bring a wild animal back to our
don't
house?
do that.
We don't
But
have space.
Kirsten wins in the
Yeah.
end.
She's like, no, remember when I set that bird's wing?
Okay, the funnier part is, I
Why
think
didn't we
her
see
brother goes back and is like, well, this is a raccoon, not a bird. And it's like, well, she still had a wild animal in your house. But she did nurse to health.
Yeah.
So even though I don't agree with her and I'm not on her side, she kind of does have a point that she's already had a wild animal. in
Dr.
your home.
Doolittle.
And then also crows are big. Oh yeah. Just to be clear.
But yeah.
Crows are big. That's not like a small bird she had in their house.
So Kirsten, brings raccoon back, puts it in the barn. Chapter 2, fire.
Oh, so wait.
Yes.
The only other thought to back up our crush talk is John is the one who very gently gives the raccoon to Kirsten. And they exchange like soft little smiles, like shyly. She's like, maybe John.
Oh, yeah. She's like, maybe
is
John
on-
does want to be my friend.
Maybe. Oh, well, yes. What did she say? I think it's. Oh, it's not in this chapter.
It's next chapter.
Yeah. But. Oh, wait, this one. His smile told her he was glad she'd come trapping with them. I was gagged when I read that. I was like, okay, Kirsten, I don't know how you picked that up because he didn't like you earlier.
No, but she says something else in the next chapter too. Chapter 2, fire.
Fire.
Where
Wonder what's going to happen.
where she was like, John's smile told her that he did want to be her friend.
Yes. She's really. Here's the thing.
She's
There's really
reading
not
in-
that much development, but much like a normal girl.
She's reading into things.
I love it. She's hyperfixating on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
His smile. His smile's telling her a lot of things that should never survive modern dating.
Kirsten would be like, oh, he liked my Instagram story.
100%.
He's still interested.
Why does he keep sending me TikToks? I guess he's interested.
I guess
so.
he wants to be my friend.
I guess he wants to be my friend. He must be glad to be in my life.
He must be glad that I'm here. If he's liking my Instagram story, then he must be glad that I'm here.
He doesn't even like them. He's watching them.
He watched it.
He's just watching
He was
them.
the second person to watch it.
Yeah.
He must love me.
Yeah.
He just is
He's
too
got my
scared.
notifications on.
He's too scared
He's
to
too
text
scared
me.
to admit it. He's too scared to text me. He's too scared to invite me out hunting, trapping, animal skinning.
But I just have to be around enough. Is what Kirsten's saying.
That is Kirsten.
And it's only Kirsten saying. That's not us.
Yeah, exactly. We all agree.
Who would
Who
know?
among us?
Who among us?
First of all, neither of us relate to this feeling at all.
No.
So write that down.
Nothing would have happened to us that would make us feel like that
No,
in our lives.
I don't think so.
Past, present, future.
And we're always saying that.
Yeah, we can't relate.
No.
We're too busy. We've got baby raccoons to take care of that are in our barn.
That's right. Both of us. Individually.
And Mama sees
We're
them.
running a nature preserve.
Yeah, nature conservatory in our barn.
And Mama's like, I'm not sure why the fuck this animal is in my barn.
Kirsten's like, I promise it'll be gone.
Kirsten's like, okay, Mama, so hear me out. First of all, I can do whatever I want. I'm going to take care of this raccoon, and it's going to be so cool and so good, and I'm going to let it out, and it will never be in our house, I so promise. Wink.
And Mama says, raccoons are trouble. Remember when that one stole a fish off our table?
I did like that. I did like the lore drop of past aggravated attacks by raccoon.
How did it get in the house?
I feel like they're just leaving the door open.
And
If I'm being
they're
completely fucking
eating
honest
dinner,
with you,
and a raccoon just comes up?
there's no way they're not just leaving the windows and doors open all
Does
the
it so
time.
musky in there?
100%.
Yeah.
It's just stanky.
Yeah. Especially with baby Britta, who, for some reason, Peter is the sole charge of.
Yeah, I guess Mama was like, okay, Kirsten, you can have like one less responsibility. Kind of.
And Peter is like, I wish I could go to school. And Mom says, you hate school because I hate baby Britta more.
Yeah, he's like, well, get rid of this dumb bitch and then send me back to
He's
school.
like, she can't
See
go
how
to
much I'll
school."
complain. This baby can't even talk to me.
And he's just the 7-year-old boy is just carrying around this baby around the house.
It is funny.
And Mama tells Kirsten and Peter, hey, I'm going to go cook bread at Aunt Inga's house, so don't burn down the house while I'm gone. And Kirsten goes and decides this baby raccoon needs to come into our actual house because I think this wild animal is cold in the barn.
If you're cold, they're cold. Let them in.
Exactly. Kirsten follows the SPCA's rules, brings the raccoon in the house. Raccoon flips a shit immediately because it's less dazed now. And everyone in the past 2 chapters has been telling Kirsten the raccoon is only being sweet because it's dazed. And she's like, no.
Kirsten's like, no, I'm the animal whisperer.
This is my pet.
I don't think so.
Little cat died.
This is like a cat.
New cat.
New cat just dropped. I found it in the woods.
New cat with fun tail.
Kind of cool.
Crazy tail cat.
With little hands. What if cat but better?
Little cat but
This
mask.
This cat could do chores with its little paws.
Look at this little Virgil cat.
I'm going to put this cat to work.
Yeah, Kirsten wants Cat Coon.
Cat coon for sure.
And immediately Cat Coon wakes
Freaks
up
the fuck out.
and starts scampering around the house. Baby Britta finds it hilarious.
That baby doesn't know what's going on.
No. Raccoon knocks over a candle, which is a precursor to Raccoon knocking over oil lamp, which sets the entire house on
Yeah,
fire.
oh my god, it goes from 0 to 100. I was like, oh, fire. And then I looked at the image that's in the book. The house goes up in flames immediately, which I guess makes sense.
Because oil's all over the carpet.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And the house is made
it's
of
just
wood.
fabric and wood in that
Yeah.
home. And then also all of their clothing is hanging on the wall, and it's described as the flames immediately start eating their way up
Oh my
their
God.
linens and
I'm
stuff that are
surprised
hanging.
they lived.
Okay, well, the crazy fucking thing is the house is already halfway on fire, and then Kirsten is like, oh shit, what do I think are the most precious things? And the first thing she grabs is Mama's candles.
Yes.
But then she's like, no, maybe it's the rifle. And then she's like, no, maybe it's the trunk.
Maybe we go back to our roots and grab Trunk.
Trunk is so back. Trunk is back party.
And so Kirsten hulks out and pushes the trunk
Okay, the
out.
best part is that the fucking sentence is she basically can't move the trunk. And then it's somehow she managed to move it towards
Again,
the
she
door.
hulked out.
Yeah. She absolutely hulked out. And then her aunt and mom show up.
Yes.
Kind of out of the blue.
Can you imagine POV your mama? You go down the lane just to bake bread, and not 7 minutes later, your entire life is in flames.
Yeah. Oh, well, she sends her cousins, right, to go
Yes.
send word
Mhm.
and bring water. Also, there's snow, so they're throwing snow now at the fire.
And nothing's working.
But the house is gone.
house is gone.
Brother, the house is gone.
Yeah,
The
house
house is gone. Up in flames.
And they all just sit there.
And the raccoon, nowhere to be found.
Yeah, the raccoon has
The
scampered
raccoon's
off
gone.
or has burnt to death.
We're actually not going to talk about the raccoon again. It doesn't come up.
No, and look, to Peter's credit, he does not tell Mama that this all happened because the raccoon was alive in their house.
Okay, yes, this was it. This is my one thing. The book does not, in any shape or form,
Blame Kirsten for burning their house down.
and like Mama and her aunt don't ask. There's no, or at least that we read about.
Which I feel like we should know.
Yeah, it feels okay. My only real beef with this book is that every other book, when Kirsten is messed up, I feel like she's learned a lesson from it.
She doesn't really feel bad about this.
No, she is like, oh, I guess my family's house is
Shit
gone.
happens.
Okay, but so there's actually an American Girl TikTok, and I think it's on Reels too, where all the American girls are talking about like traumatic shit that happens in their lives. And this is from their real American Girl account. And the one of Kirsten's is, I once burned down my family's whole house because I had a raccoon in it. And I'm like, no, that's exactly how flippant she is.
Yeah.
There's no guilt other than that she's like, I guess I don't know where we're going to live now.
Yeah.
And they're fine. They go with the aunt and uncle. But
yeah, so they move into Aunt Inga's house for the winter.
But don't you think it's crazy?
Yeah.
That they don't, nobody asks her. The house just catches on fire.
No one says what happened, how this happened.
Yeah.
What was this raccoon? What are those little raccoon prints doing?
Fell and there was oil everywhere. You would I feel like you would have to assume your kids fucked something up.
Maybe it is
Maybe they
just like it's so big of a thing that it's like, what's the point in like,
sure,
they ruined our
it's
lives.
over,
What's
right?
the point?
Yeah, like that's the punishment for the rest of their life.
It's like they don't need to paddle you. You know, you've been punished enough by ruining your family's
that's true
entire life,
all of it.
I think it is maybe just like you know what, there's bigger things to worry about right now.
That's true.
I think she'd be in more trouble if the fire hadn't destroyed the house.
Just like partially.
Because it would have been spooked,
sure, so it would have been
like
small.
you could have burned the house down. It's like, well, you did. So what are we gonna do?
Yeah, it just feels
I can't even send you
insane.
to your room because it burnt down.
You can't even send you to your sheet closet.
I can't take away your toys because they're all burnt.
Yeah, okay, we didn't even talk about that. Is Sari gone now forever?
Well, she hasn't cared about Sari in 2 books.
Well,
so
that's really true.
she lost interest in Sari.
It's over.
As soon as she got her
When
back.
she got it, she was like, I don't really want it anymore.
Exactly. Ain't
Boring.
that the truth? I'm boring. But yeah, they have to move into Aunt Inga's house. And Lisbeth continues to be a pill. And is like, there's too many people in this house. And so everyone's like, yeah, there are too many people in this house. We know. But Lisbeth is really like losing it.
She's like, I've had enough now that I'm a 16-year-old, 12-year-old woman. Woman lady.
And Kirsten is like, don't worry, I'll leave the house so that you can play with your paper dolls at the table. I'm like, girl, calm down. Like, if that's what you want to do was play with your paper dolls at the table, like...
It does feel like the least important thing right this moment. It feels like Lisbeth should understand empathy.
And they're all cramped together, but they invite Mary Stewart and her brother John Stewart, late night host, over for soup. Which,
handsome. He's there to woo her again.
Which kind of feels like the Stewart should be inviting the Larsons over for soup, just based off the fact that the Larsons' house burned down.
Also, there's an implication that the Stewarts have a pretty big house.
Oh yeah, they got a nice house.
Yeah.
And the Stewarts come over for soup, and good news, ? You're about to do me good news.
Like that.
They tell them that they're gonna go to Oregon.
Oh my God. When we got the Oregon Trail lore drop, I was thrilled.
I know.
I was
like,
excited.
Here we are.
As an Oregon Trail enjoyer, I mean, we're not going on it, but like,
I wish we were kind of.
I know. I was like, why isn't there like Kirsten hits the trail?
That is a book, but it's not about that.
What?
It's one of those bonus books that we have in our folder.
She goes on the
It's
Oregon
called
Trail?
Kirsten hits the. It's literally called like Kirsten on the Trail, but it's not about the Oregon Trail.
Oh my
And
God. I was
hoping
just
it would be.
being annoying.
No, I was.
That's really funny.
I skimmed it to see if it was about her like meeting Mary Stewart and John Stewart, and it's not. It's not about anything.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's weird. There's also we'll talk.
Anyway,
about it.
We'll
Get to it. But they're like, oh, yeah, so it's 2 children. It's a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. And they say, we have to sell our house and all of our furniture so that when our dad comes back, we can hit the road and head to Oregon. And they said, cool, how much are you selling your house for? And I said, $500.
Easy, but not really, because Papa's only making $100 at the log camp.
And Mama isn't sure if her letter has gotten to Papa that their house is burnt down yet.
That's so funny. She's reading this letter. They're like, it's good news. And she's like, no. She's like, Papa doesn't know that our livelihood is gone.
He's like, I made money. We'll be fine. She's like,
Also, she says that the money won't even be enough for them to buy like a parcel of land, but the house just burned down. The land's not.
I still think they're on Uncle Olaf's land.
Okay, yeah. So then to me, it wouldn't matter. They already have land you could just build
Another cabin?
house. Yeah, right nearby.
Well, yeah, I wonder if a whole house with a farm and cabin and furniture is $500.
Right.
I wonder how much 100 would get them. Like,
it seems like at least a house.
yeah. But they're all stressed about it.
They don't have enough money. And even if like the kids sell all the pelts that they've collected so far,
It's not enough.
still won't have it. And Mama's like, stop, like, we'll never have $500.
Like, this is hard. This pioneer life is hard. And it does feel kind of like, oh, tantalizing. The house is going to be empty and it's our friend's house and we could move in, but
Does
we
feel
don't
like they
have
could
the
just give
money.
it to them.
Does feel like they could do an IOU.
How many other families have $500? It kind of
Kind of
seems
feels like the
the
stewards are
answer
asking
is
for a
like,
lot.
no, but yes, well, like, I think the aunt makes a comment that's like, well, you have a nice house. It has many rooms and every room has a window. So $500 feels very reasonable. And I was like, okay, but everybody here in this room who's an adult is implying that it's a completely unreasonable number. At least for like the timeline that they're trying to sell it at.
They're trying to sell it in like 2 weeks. It feels like.
They're like, we've got to hit the trail right now.
And, well, Donner Party. I was worried about them.
Donner Party.
I was worried about the stewards. Like, then
for sure they
Kirsten-
probably lost it on the trail.
Kirsten was like, oh no, my one friend Mary, who I don't really like that much, is leaving. And she's like, oh, I'll never see you again. And Mary's like, we'll write letters to each other. And I was like, uh-huh.
I doubt it.
I was like, yeah, we'll do that.
Every person who's ever moved away who's like, well, stay
I'll
in touch.
text you. And you're like,
No, you
"Ugh."
won't.
Yeah, another
It's
friend.
easier than ever to stay in touch with people, and people
still don't.
won't do it. So,
You know, one of my favorite historical facts, which is going back in time a little bit, was there was this historical beef between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson. Like, they were constantly, like, just, like, hating. But they were kind of, like, frenemies, too. At the end of their life, they were, like, two of the only founding fathers left.
yeah.
And so they kind of begrudgingly were like, oh, we will be friends because we've been through the same experiences. But John Adams wrote, I think, like, hundreds of letters to Thomas Jefferson. And Thomas Jefferson wrote something like a third of the letters back to him.
And that's really cool.
And I was like, it's a sea of blue text.
Me monologuing to the silence of my friend who's not on their phone as much. It's so devastating to meet somebody who doesn't communicate at the same rate as you, because you're like, anyway, I have all these thoughts I'd like to share. And you're like, oh, I look like an insane person.
You know what's the worst is when, like, if you have a friend who has notifications on silent all the time.
Oh my God.
And
I feel like I'm knocking on somebody's door uninvited.
and you, like, text them. You, like, text them, like, 3 thoughts in a row, right? Just, like, little thoughts. And then you want to text them something else, and you go back to text them something, and, like, they haven't responded yet.
Did you think it's most haunting when the Do Not Disturb comes on while you're, like, texting them?
Yeah.
I feel bad because I've done that to somebody recently where I was in the middle of a meeting. I sent a thought and then my phone kept buzzing and you could, like, hear it on my table. So to, like, put it on Do Not Disturb.
I do that to you guys a lot in our group chat because I use my, like, since I freelance, I use my regular laptop.
Oh, see, I just love to mute things now. And then I come back to them because then I don't have to have Do Not Disturb on, but I can still see things.
I like being able to push through Do Not Disturb. That's what I like about that.
I do too. I will send it if it's urgent, in my opinion, which is usually just if I'm hanging out with somebody and I see that they have it. And then
Hey.
like, I have something you need
and
to
then it goes,
know.
"Whoa."
Yeah,
And you
It
can't do
shakes
that when
it.
your friend's on the Oregon Trail.
that's true. Or if you're sending letters to your husband at the log camp.
And you find out news so late, like that your house burned down or that your child's dead.
Yeah, that does feel like the thing. There's no delayed gratification in the modern era.
Yeah.
Feels like we should have more of that.
Like, can you imagine the roller coaster that Papa goes on for this?
Right, it's like no house.
Oh, big house?
Maybe big house.
Maybe new house?
Well,
Maybe
because
childhood trauma?
should we talk about how their fortunes change?
Oh, yes, in chapter 4, Old Jack. My favorite chapter so far in any American Girl Doll
I
book.
kind of could not believe this was real.
This chapter, folks, is why we're doing this podcast.
Yeah, let me tell you something. As somebody who didn't read any of the books except, I think, Julie's, this was fucking crazy. I will say, this book I actually listened to a woman read out loud on YouTube.
Oh, nice.
She does not have a good voice. Well, she has like an okay voice, but like she
Name names,
just-
call her out.
she just did them in like a single take.
Yeah.
So she like messes up sometimes when she was reading them. And so I was like listening to this like as I was like working on my like notes and things. And when she gets into this chapter, I had to like pause it and like rewind it because I was like, wait, what just happened? So would you like to set the scene?
Yeah, so Kirsten and Larson decide we might not be able to raise $500, but we got to raise money now because our entire house is burnt down. So they go out on like a hyperfixation mode, hunting, pelting. John's doing it too, but he's doing it somewhere else. They kind of allude to. So he's setting
Not with
traps like,
Kirsten.
downhill. Kirsten and Lars think if they set them uphill, they might find more beavers, but they're kind of striking out, finding beavers, and they're hunting late into the night. And they're seeing owls, which is a bad sign. Like if the owls are out, that means we're out too late. But they're kind of too far away from their home now.
Which
And-
happens also a lot in
Yeah.
these books.
And they're like, I guess we could follow the North Star. And they realize, like, oh, we don't know where we're going. But they see some snowshoe tracks in the snow. And they say, oh, that's someone. Let's follow them.
Yeah.
And Lars says, oh, I think it's Old Jack. That's great. We can follow them back to his place.
And Kirsten's like,
She's like, I'm scared of Old Jack. I
it's
don't
dark
know why.
and the scary leather man is out here in the woods.
And he says, no, it'll be fine. He'll give us an oil lamp and we can just take that and we can find our way home. Because I think the issue is that they just don't have a lamp. And so it's just getting darker. So then they find Old Jack's cave. And this man lives in a cave with a door on it. And it's unclear if this is his house or if this is like his like hunting spot.
Yeah. I felt like when I read or when I was listening to it, to me it seemed like a hunting.
A hunting like
blind.
post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the way like when people go out on hunts, they have like the little home base that's like camouflaged into nature so that they can still have like a place to have a snack or relax before you go back out or like wait for like an animal to approach.
So they find his place and they're like, oh, it doesn't seem like anyone's been here for a couple of days. Oh, weird. The door's unlocked. Oh, weird, but it's still hard to open because
But
the
let's
snow
go
has piled
inside.
up. So they push on the door and they enter.
Ah, a man.
And then Kirsten sees Old Jack and she goes, oh my God, he's here. This is terrifying.
She immediately is like, he's gonna kill us. Like, he's gonna kill us, you guys. It's over.
She like, Kirsten, who has been a very brave little American girl, flips a shit at Old Jack. And Lars goes, hey, don't worry, Kirsten. He can't hurt us because he's dead. And then it describes what a dead man
Fucking
looks like.
crazy.
Like Kirsten could see his waxy skin and his cloudy, soulless eyes.
I was like, the best part too is like it's cold, so they can see their breath in the air, and it's like his mouth didn't have the telltale clouds of breathing. And I was like, this is a children's book. What do you mean there's a dead man?
And Lars is very casual about this.
Well, the best
'Cause
part
he's
is
a
she's like,
man.
how did he die? And he's like, well, he was old and he probably just sat down and then stopped.
His heart stopped and he froze.
So did that help Kirsten? Did that? No need to be scared. He's dead.
We're just here with a dead body, Kirsten, just like your friend
Don't
Marta.
worry about it. And by the way, this dead guy's got a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, they see Old Jack has pelts galore. He's got like a pile of pelts.
So many pelts, which feels like a little crazy.
It's so many pelts. The picture is
Yeah, it's a little insane. Also, the implication that like I guess you're just hoarding them to sell later. Because it feels like he
Yes.
could have been selling them as he was going.
No, he has so many. And then
Also, yeah, the picture of the dead guy.
Yeah.
In the book.
just dead.
He still had his little hat on.
Yeah, we shouldn't see his soulless
Eyes.
waxy eyes for the children's book. But then Lars is like, no one's using these pelts.
Nobody knows that this guy's dead because he didn't have anybody in his life because he's a lonely, saddled man.
He's like, this
He's
hermit.
very flippant about.
Oh yeah, Lars has been hardened by the Prairie, I think.
Yeah. Also, Lars is like, and by the way, Papa says that like if somebody doesn't have any family, it's kind of like finders keepers.
I know they debate the morality of finders keepers for a little bit, and Kirsten's like, I feel like this is wrong, and Lars is like, no.
Think about this: we don't have a house.
He would want us to sell his pelts.
He would want us to take them, and if we don't, someone else will, and then we still won't have a house, and we'll still be poor.
And yeah, he's like, no one's gonna know about this.
How would they know?
Papa and I will come and bury him in the springtime. And like, that body is going to be terrifying if you just leave it there like that.
Yeah, it is a little haunting to think about that because I remember when I was younger.
That's all I thought about.
When I was younger, I learned because my great-grandmother died in the winter and she couldn't be buried in Vermont until the spring. So they just like had her in a box and like on ice for the winter, basically. Which I was like, bizarre. But that's just like stuff younger you doesn't think about. In my head, it's like, oh, somebody died. We can put him in the ground right now.
I didn't think about that till you just said that.
Just not true.
Yeah.
We had to wait till February. That was the earliest that the ground was soft enough for them to dig in.
I feel like we can't do that now. Can't use like a tool to.
What do you mean?
Like if someone died in Vermont today. I mean, in the winter in
It would
Vermont.
depend. So she died at a time where there was like a freeze, so they couldn't get through the ice to bury dig deep enough in the ground. Yeah. It's just interesting.
Well, I just picture. It's just upsetting to think about how that body's gonna rot.
Oh, for sure, Papa and Lars are not going back and giving that man a good Christian burial.
Oh, you think Lars is lying to Kirsten?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's lying to Kirsten. They're gonna board that like cave up, or let the animals at him. It's the pioneer times. Why would Papa wouldn't go into town to get his family's belongings. You think Papa is gonna bring his son to bury a man they didn't know?
Who's been decaying for months?
Yeah, absolutely not. No,
Ugh.
they're not doing that.
So they're stuck in this cave, and Lars is like, we're just gonna have to sleep here tonight. And Kirsten's like, please, God, no, please don't make me do this. And he's like, Kirsten, he was a good soul. His soul's in heaven. You have nothing to worry about. Implying that if he was a bad man, they would have something to worry about.
Yeah.
And Kirsten like does fall asleep, but I imagine this is a trauma that Kirsten takes with her for the rest of her life.
Oh, probably. Again, I've never seen well, that's not true. I guess I've seen a dead person at like a wake. I've never encountered a dead body out and about. But I imagine that is something that you probably burns itself like in the back
Retinas,
of your, in like the back of your eyelids. So like when you're going to bed and you're trying to fall asleep, you just keep seeing like, the facade of a dead guy.
And so they throw blankets over him and they kind of call it a day.
Yeah. What would you do if you had to sleep in a house with a dead person?
I can't even imagine. I would probably throw blankets over them.
It does feel like out
and
of sight,
I
out
would
of
move
mind.
furniture around them, just so I would feel like there's a
Hopefully
physical
they're not
block.
going to reanimate in the night and come at me.
I probably wouldn't sleep in it, honestly.
No.
I'd probably move it outside. I don't want to touch it though. I don't
but
know.
A dead body is like way harder to move.
Especially rigor mortis.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Yeah.
If I was a 10-year-old girl and I had to sleep in a room with
That's what I'm saying.
a dead
Yeah.
body,
You're 10 years old in this scenario.
I would make my older brother sleep closer to it.
Yeah.
Because he's not scared.
Yeah. Or your current brother.
I would sleep closer to the door.
For sure would sleep right next to the door.
Yeah, I'd be up on that door.
Yeah.
Oh, this is hard. I can't even think about it.
Again, this is the craziest one of these books has gotten so far.
Yeah, I'm excited. It is kind of like, I feel like they're treating this like strangely for a children's.
It's a very flippant thing to bring up and be like, again, I understand that these books probably their main goal is just to teach you about a historical time. Yeah. Right. In context, give you ideas of it as a kid. Totally understand that. It is just really funny the times that they are teaching you something that doesn't actually feel like a lesson.
No. This is just kind of like, oh, we wanted to throw in a dead man.
If you entered somebody's house and they were dead and they don't have any family, it's kind of like if it would benefit you, you should take their stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild lesson to learn Finders keepers.
The optics are bad because in Welcome Home, they use those pelts.
Yeah. Yeah, Kirsten makes it through the night with a dead body.
Good for her.
Lars is like making potatoes in the dead man's.
Yeah, I wish
Lars
he hadn't.
is too casual
It's
about death.
really weird.
I want to know what Lars's Prairie adventures have been because
Lars
he
is a
seems,
sociopath for sure.
He seems like from the boy who loved the sailors on the boat. I think something's happened to Lars in between.
Yeah, he's been hardened by
He's-
the snow and the cold.
Donner Party.
He's been hardened by the Donner Party. He's a true crime junkie before there was such things.
He's seen some things, and we will never know what his adventures were
That's right.
unless you, our audience, writes them. Send us Lars's adventures.
I'd like some fan fiction
about the scarring
about
that
what
happened
the
to Lars
15-year-old is up to.
on the prairie. Who has he seen? What has he
How
seen?
many other dead bodies has he encountered? Did he kill one of them?
What if he killed old Jack?
That'd be fucked up.
That's how you know.
I think Jon Stewart did it for Kirsten.
No,
So that her family could have a house.
Then that's why they leave for Oregon.
That's right. So he can flee his crimes.
That's an interesting theory. And in the next chapter, in our last chapter, nothing really happens. There's no consequences to their grave robbing.
Not at all.
Except that they get a new house.
So kind of a benefit. So stealing is good, kids.
Stealing from dead people is the way to go.
And it's morally okay.
And it's fine. You just got to do it.
It's okay. Don't let
As
it
long
linger.
as the dead person has no family, you can do it. No one's going to care.
That's right. And I'm always saying that.
And Papa and Jon Stewart shook on it. Jon Stewart's dad shook on it. His name is probably Jon Stewart too.
Probably. There
and
were
they're like-
simpler things.
And he's like, get our house ready for my return. And so then Mama and all the kids get ready to move. Anna is sad that Kirsten's leaving, but they like talk about having a sleepover, which I thought was kind of fun.
Well, at least there's like a little bit of getting along now.
Yeah. No mention of Elizabeth. She sucks. Yeah, we never hear what happened to Miss Winston. Mary and John have already left. And Kirsten goes over to the house and is like, oh, this is kind of sad and exciting, but like sad because
The house has like the lingering essence of
her-
all of them.
of the
like,
bread.
Still smells
that
like
they
the
cooked.
bread.
They must have just left.
Yeah, I just feel like relatively recent.
The oven is
and
still hot.
And it does kind of seem like the implication is they don't really get like, they don't say like goodbye. There's like a lot of weird tradition because Mary leaves her a letter
Yeah.
with
In
one
her
of those
little
little.
windowsill, yeah.
I did think that was cute. With
And
like,
John left her a little toy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
John was like, "This one's for you."
find me later. When you're a little older. When I'm a little
When
older.
we're both 16 and ready to be wed.
When you can be my young bride.
You could be my
Not
young
my
bride.
child bride, just my young
But we
bride.
could be young married teenagers
Exactly.
settling our own lives
In Oregon.
out on the trail.
But they go to their new house, which is a very nice house.
It's a nice house. It's state of the art for the
It's
time.
closer to town.
Absolutely. Multiple levels.
Yeah, 2 levels, windows in every room.
Nice little oven.
Yeah. And so they kind of move in.
Upgrade.
Yeah, from the dinky
So
log
like
cabin.
kind of thank you, Kirsten, for burning the house
Kirsten
down.
saves the day.
Kirsten forces some changes.
Kirsten forces their family's hand.
Kirsten gets what she wants.
And not old Jack doesn't.
That's right. Well, he's dead, so.
And the book ends with Papa running down or coming down the road and everyone running to greet him.
Yep.
And
He's so back.
then we have the worst peek into the past so far.
Yeah.
Where we look into the future of what Kirsten can expect from life, and it does not seem good.
It's pretty bleak.
The book talks about, like, oh, the railroads were being built, transportation's becoming more modern. A lot of the things that Kirsten is doing in these books wouldn't be issues anymore because you can order things. It kind of talks about
Everything kind of gets better.
the early days of Amazon, where it's like, yeah, you would like set, which I know this is how it works, but it's wild that like in these times, people would just send money like to Des Moines,
Oh, yeah.
and then they would expect their goods to come in like 3 to 6 months. That feels like such a leap of faith with your money. Like,
Oh,
when money
100%.
is
the way you're not
scarce.
really supposed to send like any significant amounts of money through the mail like now
Yeah.
because of how like kind of off and bad our system is.
Well, it's even just like the physical, like that would cause me. I could never do that. I wouldn't be like
Oh no.
they would like
Let me send you $1,000 in then's currency, basically. And hope-
$10.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And the hopes that I'm going to get like my table and chair set.
my candles.
My candles.
But so they kind of talk about that, and then it talks about how farming equipment was revolutionized, and like you would have reapers, and you'd have different things that would cut time in half and would allow farmers to make more, like make more crops, I guess, than their family would need, and something they could sell. And that kind of, it basically talks about like agriculture growing and how Minnesota became America's breadbasket. But then it says, but for Kirsten, nothing would have changed. Her homework would have been just as hard as the work that Mama had, because we didn't have those innovations yet for like what a wife would need. So that Kirsten's life.
Yeah, it's like all of these things got better for men, but not for women because everything was so bad.
Yeah, and it just like goes like page after page of being like, Kirsten may have had like a wash tub, which Mama didn't, but she would have had more washing to do.
Also that like the farms were getting bigger at the time because of all of these other expansions and stuff, so she would have been responsible not just for like a small little homestead. Very likely she would have had like more land
And
to
probably
be
helped out
taken
with like
care
the
of.
farm hands, which they mentioned. So it kind of gives you, kind of ends on a note that
Running a staff and having children.
yeah, it didn't feel like a great way to end Kirsten's adventure, giving us a peek into her life as just a wife, a dutiful wife on a farm.
Yeah. American Dream, I think, is what you wrote there at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. I
They had it.
think, in my mind, Kirsten re-meets Singing Bird and runs off into the woods and lives happily ever
Do
after.
you feel like she gets unsettled in her early 20s? She doesn't want to be a mother.
Yeah, well, she already has 3
or a
kids at
wife
that
anymore.
point.
100%.
Mhm.
100%.
And she just leaves. She's one of those women who disappears.
Yeah. She becomes a ghost,
Yeah.
a spirit of the prairie.
She takes Sari with her.
I think Sari's gone. I think Sari burned in the fire.
Oh, that would be such... I wish we knew about that.
Again, it does feel funny how much information you are given in every book, but then again,
But not enough at all.
none of it is ever relevant again. None of it is ever relevant again.
Well, just there's so many things that are so important in one book and then never relevant again in the next book, you know?
Yeah, I think that's charming.
I like
I
it.
guess, why
And-
not?
And so we say goodbye to our friend Kirsten. Goodbye,
We love her. Bye,
Kirsten.
Kirsten.
So how do we feel? How do you feel about your first traditional American Girl doll
I'm glad to be
series
done
books?
with her.
Okay.
She was fun while she lasted. The last book was the best book.
Oh, yes.
I think. Most interesting, most fun, most thrilling. But I don't think I need anything else from her.
You don't need any more Prairie life?
No.
No, I
No.
agree.
It's kind of like you said, it's like, it is the Laura Ingalls Wilder conundrum. You hit a point where you're like, we've explored the high level problems.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
I don't need to know about her turning 11 and quite
Getting
frankly,
married.
I was going to say American Girl was never going to get there because it's about being like a girl, like
Yeah.
a young girl.
Not a tween. It's not
Exactly.
American tween.
American Tween, exactly. Although American Tween, American Girl.
Write us American tween fanfiction.
Could be something cool.
Yeah.
Could be something cool.
Well, yeah, next we're doing Samantha. And actually, the way we're doing this podcast is I took kind of control of the outlines and the, like, speaking to Kirsten, and Celia is going to take over and be the lead on Samantha, who is our Victorian brat.
I'm excited. I don't know anything about her.
Oh, Samantha's fun.
Famously, I don't know anything about the several coming dolls.
You think child labor was important in this book? Just you wait. It's 19 teens, baby.
She a little seamstress?
Oh, no, she's not. She's a rich girl.
Oh, that's right. She's a.
But she's
you just
got-
say brat.
She's got friends.
Brat.
She's got friends who are not as well off as her.
Well, of course, we have to have a reflection of the society around us, even
And-
if it's not through our girl.
Yeah, and she lives with her...
But she actually has friends.
Yeah, she actually does have friends.
That's interesting.
Most of the other girls actually do have at least one, like, solid friend who's, like...
Does
an
Felicity have
auxiliary
little
character.
glasses?
No, that's Molly. Felicity is our colonial girl, who I'm excited for because it's my area of the country. Samantha has a little bow.
Oh, is she in a little petticoat?
Yes.
Yes, I'm looking directly at her now.
Yeah, she's like, hey.
Bangs alert.
Oh, yeah, she's got bangs for days.
That's cute. I might put my bangs down.
She's an orphan,
Oh,
but she lives with her grandmother, who she calls Grand Mary.
I do like that.
And I remember very vividly one of her peeks into the past, so I'm excited to see when that comes up.
Her outfits are cute.
Oh, yeah, she's fashionable.
I'm excited. I'm
Victorian
excited to
era
see.
is very cute. I think actually it's 1910, so it's Edwardian era.
Okay,
So I think
it's like edge of that.
yeah, but it's kind of one of my favorite fashion-y times.
These are cute. These
Yeah.
are. I'm excited. I'm excited to learn about her.
Her uncle's got a girlfriend who's a suffragette.
Oh, slay.
Yeah,
So she learns about political activism
a little bit.
Well,
In a way that only a 10-year-old can.
in a way that an American girl could.
I'm excited to read about her. And I'm excited because I think I said a few episodes ago I had read the first 2 Kirsten books, but I'm pretty sure I did not remember Old Jack, and I think I would have remembered that.
That's again. I had to pause the audio I was listening to. I was so blown away by the revelation I'd just been given.
But I'm excited because I did fully read Samantha because my sister had Samantha.
Cute.
So we had the book. So I read that one. And so it'll be fun to see what that's like as an adult. But yeah, we did our first series and we've been here for a long time now and we need to go eat tacos.
That's right.
So
we're hungry gals.
We're going to
just
peace
like
out.
Kirsten on the prairie.
Yeah, but
we'll miss her.
But please send us
your thoughts,
your prayers,
your notions.
What you would have done if you were stuck
like
in a cabin with old Jack.
How would you feel if you didn't have any food on the prairie because you're a woman and there's no advancements for you?
Do you believe in finders keepers?
Especially with a dead person.
Yeah. What's your personal philosophy?
Do you think Papa's going to bury the dead guy?
Do you think Papa's going to be mad at Kirsten?
Again.
At
what age do you think Papa dies? Leave it in the comments below.
At what age do you think Kirsten dies?
29.
Yeah. All right.
Life expectancy wasn't very long. So on that note,
we love you. Thanks for listening from all four of you.
Subscribe it. Like it.
Thanks for listening, Emily, Paige, Sarah, Kellen.
Just keep saying white women names.
Yeah. Chelsea, Brittany.
That's right.
Jessie, Molly.
Jessie!
We appreciate all of you.
And we love you.
Bye.
Bye.